Okay, then today we are going to start our lecture. So today our class will be very important as well as interesting one. So before I'm going to start about the today's discussion, I just make you a revise of that. In the last week, we have already covered about the various kind of C tokens. Okay, like the various keywords in C, identifiers or names or variables names. How many types of how are the different ways that we can represent or write a variable in C program. Then we have discussed about the constants, how we can define a constant in a C program. Then we have discussed about some operators that we are going to discuss today. Okay. Now, before going to discuss operators, some important thing that I need to discuss where lots of questions are coming from those topics, as well as those topics are very important for your future programming, and you can say those topics are frequently asking in interview, okay, in your on-campus interview. So one little thing that I need to discuss in last week class, I already discussed about how we can take inputs, right? There are two ways that we can take inputs. One is compile time input, another one is runtime input or execution time input. So compile time input we can take by directly specifying the value inside the variable within the program itself. That means int a equal to 2. In this way, we can define a compile time input. And if we are going to perform or if we are going to take a runtime input, then we can use a scanf function, which is a part of the stdio.h function to take runtime input. Okay. So both the ways of how we can take inputs in our C program I have already shown in the last class. Okay. So suppose if a is a character type, suppose if a is a character type variable which stores a single character s, okay. So this is the compile time input that we can take, okay, right? In this way we can take a compile time character input. Now, if we want to take a same character input in case of runtime, then we will have to use a scanf function followed by access specifier %c and then address of operator ampersand and then followed by a variable name. This is the way of how we can take input at runtime. Okay, these are the most common or most popular ways of taking input in C programming, right? There are some other ways, okay, by which we can take runtime input that I didn't show in the last class, just need to show today that there are two system defined or built-in functions, which is called putchar and getchar. These are the two system defined and built-in functions, putchar and getchar. Okay, these are the two functions by the help of which we can take runtime input and we can print the input at our output screen. Okay. So what I have told that these are the two system defined or built-in functions. These two functions has been defined within the same library files that all the other input output or standard input function has been defined in stdio.io.h, and getchar function is mainly used to take a single character as an input in the runtime or execution time through the keyboard, okay, or through your terminal. And putchar is just working like your printf statement. That means you can print a single character on the output screen. But remember, this getchar and putchar is only applicable for the character type. Clear? This getchar and putchar is only applicable for the character type or character taking input. For integer or float taking input, you have to go through this normal printf scanf one. Okay. So how the getchar will work? Let me discuss with you. Suppose char b. This is the getchar function we will write in such a way. That means after writing this function, okay, the control directly goes to your terminal or to your keyboard that it actually demanding input, and whatever input you are pressing through your keyboard that will be stored into a local variable that is character b, right? Now if you want to print that variable with the help of putchar function, you can do in such a way. Okay, so it is much easier code to read a character or write a character into your code, okay, instead of using a printf or scanf. Okay, so let's check it out. I'm executing this code. So this output is actually demanding for A because the first statement that has to be need to be executed, that is scanf for A. So suppose I have given a character Q for A. Sorry, just remove it. Let's start with this one. Okay, this character I have taken an input S, and this is the execution step of the S. That means the put cat. So this S I have given for the get cat, and this S I have been seen if the put cat function has been executed. So make it more proper. So we can add a printf statement here to just print that enter your character as input. Okay, and then getChar function has been used and stored the value into a variable, character type variable b, and then printf function has been used. So before putChar function, we will write another statement here. The output is, okay. Again, we will run this code. So enter your character. So suppose I have entering character q, and the output is also q. Okay, so please remember these two functions are a special kind of function, built-in function, which are frequently used while we are taking a single character as the input, or while we are printing a single character as a output. Okay, and these two functions is a part of the system library called stdio.h. Right, I think it is clear by everyone, right? Now there is another two functions. Right now I don't want to discuss about those functions. I will discuss those functions during my after some lecture. Okay, puts function and gets function. Puts and gets. By the help of these two functions, we can take string as the input. By the help of gets function, we can take string as the input, and by the help of puts function, we can printf the string as the output. Okay, so get can means getting the character, and get s means getting the string. This s for string. In the same way, put can means putting the character at the output screen, and put s means putting the string at the output screen. Okay, but this gets and puts, use of gets and puts in the form of codes, I will show you while we are covering the string chapter. Okay, right now just you remember, along with put can and get can, there are other two popular input output functions, puts and gets, which is part of the same standard library we are generally using. Okay, I think it is clear. Anyone has any doubt? Is it clear to everyone? Hello, is it clear to everyone, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
sir.
Very fine. Right now, I'm going to show you some of the important concepts. Everyone, please look at it and try to understand very carefully. Very, very important concept, right? I'm just writing a code. Any one of you can tell me the output of this code. Okay, let me write this code for you. Char a equal to suppose a. Okay, printf %d comma a.
So it will show error, sir, because we take here character A, character A.
Okay.
Integer
%C
is
होगा
percentage.
The percentage
percent C
you're
होगा
using a percentage
हाँ,
there will be
Okay. One
you have to
second.
use percentage C.
Yes. So according to the logic which I have already discussed to you, it should show an error, right? Okay, let me run this, execute this code. So what will it will show? Is it showing any
65
error?
ANSI value. No, so you say it gives ANSI value.
Yes,
ASCII
ASCII value, not ANSI value, ASCII
Sorry,
value.
ASCII value, not
Okay.
ASCII value, sorry, ASCII value,
So
sir.
there is a concept called ASCII value in C programming. Very simple. Actually, not in C programming. In any other programming languages, it follows everywhere. It follows an ASCII value concept. Okay. But there should be a different names. That means this is called a character set. The overall concept is called character set. The ASCII value will look like this. This is the ASCII table, and these are the ASCII value mapping. Everyone look at this conception very careful. This is very important. ASCII stand for American Standard Code of Information Interchange. American Standard Code for Information Interchange, right? So obviously you can understand this is a standardized type of thing, right? So below this ASCII character table, including description of the first 32 characters. So this ASCII character table will contain how many characters? 32 characters. Okay, first 32 characters. And ASCII was originally designed with teletypes for the use with teletypes, and so the description are somewhat obscure and then use is frequently not as intended. Java programming language doesn't use ASCII concept, but instead of that, it uses an extension of the ASCII concept or updated or upgraded ASCII concept, which is called Unicode concept, which is called Unicode concept. And this ASCII, Unicode, all are called character set. Remember, please. This ASCII, Unicode, all are called generally called character set, and this shows you a mapping between a decimal number and a character number. কি বললাম? This shows you a mapping between a decimal number and a character number. Let me give you this understanding very easily. Suppose the character which I am inserting, okay, the character which I am inserting in my program, that is A. I think all of you understood that thing. The character which I am inserting or I am giving input through the runtime in my program, that is A, capital A. But do you think capital A is understandable for the computer system or the compiler that is working at the back end? Is it understandable? No, because computer or machine understand only lower level language. That means your 0110 conversion. That means if you are somehow converting this A into its corresponding decimal form, then the computer can easily converting the decimal form into its corresponding binary form. But from the character, it cannot directly convert into a decimal form or binary form. It is not allowed in a computer system, right? And obviously computer system does not understand capital A, because this capital A is understandable language for the human being, not the computer system. So that's why there should be a standard mapping procedure or standard ASCII table procedure. That mapping procedure is called actually ASCII mapping or ASCII table. This mapping procedure is generally mapping the character into its corresponding decimal or vice versa. The character into corresponding decimal or vice versa. Clear? Everyone clear? Because suppose you are inserting A. So A is a character. What is the corresponding mapping decimal value of this character? 65. In the output, we have also received the same thing. I think you remember that output that I have shown you. So A is our input. So what should be our output? The output we have received is also 65. So 65 is actually an ASCII mapping of the character A. 65 is actually an ASCII mapping of the character A. So in the same way, the ASCII mapping of character B is 66. That means 65 plus 1, incremented by 1. Because in the character set, it is also incremented by 1. So in the decimal set or mapping set, it is also incremented by 1. So starting from A, so if you remember only the starting value of A, then you can easily remember up to Z, capital Z. কি বললাম বুঝতে পারছো? So if you remember the starting value of capital A in this ASCII table, it is easy for you to remember or to calculate the ASCII value for capital Z, because each and every letters will be incremented by 1. So capital Z is represented by 90. So at the back end, the computer will convert this Z into decimal form 90, and then it is further converted from decimal form 90 to a binary form or binary equivalent of this 90. Right? So that's why this character mapping table is required and is associated with each and every programming languages. For C programming language, ASCII character table is associated. For C programming language, ASCII character table is associated. For Java programming language, Unicode character table is associated. Right? So you can say, sir, why Java doesn't include ASCII? Why Java requires Unicode? Because Java is much more vast language, and Java programming language sometimes support the regional characters, regional language characters. মানে আমাদের বাংলায় তো কিছু letters আছে, অ আ রস্বই, right? Or there are some regional letters in Hindi as well. Okay, ka kha, and then there is a regional letter in Tamil as well. So in to support all these regional languages and their corresponding letters, that's why different ASCII code or different character mapping code has been used. Okay, and ASCII is the most basic one. ASCII যে প্রথম ভার্সনটা বেরিয়েছিল, which is an 8-bit ASCII character code. 8-bit ASCII character code. Right now, the ASCII uses a 32-bit character code. You have to remember this. ASCII uses a first 32-bit character code. 32 bits means these numbers will be converted into a corresponding 32 bits of expansion, of 0 and 10 expansion. Okay, these numbers will be converted, will be 32. Maximum je number ta ache, that can be supported up to 32 combination of 0 and 1. The maximum number it has, that is 127, that can be supported by maximum one must be 32 bit of 0 and 1 combination. 127K, if you convert it from decimal to binary, then you can say that maximum 32 bit it will require to represent. Okay, or sometimes 8 bit. So right now ASCII is generally using 32 characters, right? So you don't need to require to conversion all these things, but you have to require to remember some of the ASCII character and its corresponding mapping values. Okay, so capital A is represented by 65 and capital Z will represent by 90. In the same way, small a will be represented by 97 and small z will be represented by 122. So majorly you should remember capital A to capital Z and small a to small z. That means you need to remember only two values. Capital A is 65 and small a is 97. The rest of the values you can easily calculate it by yourself. And some of the these 0, 1, 2, 3, this is also a mapping of the numbers 0 to 9. This is also a mapping of the numbers. So not numbers, sorry. Numbers this one. This is a mapping of the numbers 0 to 9. So you should remember that number mapping as well. 0 starts from 48 and then incremented by 1 and 9 ended at 57. So 48 to 57 is your ASCII characters. And these are the some others kind of ASCII characters are there. So generally in examination in short question, generally some ASCII character their mapping may come. So you have to remember some of the ASCII characters. It is not possible to remember all the ASCII characters. Okay, you cannot remember it, but at least some of the ASCII characters like the numbers 0 to 9 and the letters capital A to Z or small a to Z you can remember. And in some of the cases, if possible, then you can also remember these symbols. Okay, special symbols like at the rate of null symbols. Null means 0, then space. Okay, then comma. Okay, so you can remember. Okay, you can remember up to which you can give your effort to remember it. Okay, so this is the ASCII table. Is it clear to everyone? American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Is it clear to everyone? This abbreviation is also very important. বুঝতে পারলে? Is it clear? Why we are requiring this mapping function? Is it clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Can anyone tell me if I am doing these things? Anyone give me the answer? Int a equal to 97. What will be the answer?
We will get the
Small a.
alphabetic
Small a.
আচ্ছা আমি
Small a.
এটা চেঞ্জ করে দিই ভেরিয়েবলটা, otherwise it may create some confusion. Now tell me the answer.
122.
The capital C.
Why capital C?
122, I think.
No.
That's small a.
Yes.
Small
a. Small a.
Here
Why?
we
Small a,
will get
small a.
another alphabet. Yes, small a. It will
Listen,
be small a.
listen.
That is equal to
We
small
have
a.
taken the 97 as a decimal number and stored the value into an integer variable z, right? And we have printed that value integer variable z with the help of percent %c. That means character mapping. From decimal to character mapping I am trying to do here. In the previous case, I was trying to do from character to decimal mapping. And here I am trying to do from decimal to character mapping. So ASCII table is also working in the reverse order. I have already told, vice versa way. So what is the decimal number is, input number is 97. So what should be its corresponding character?
Small a, I think. Small
Okay.
a, yes.
So let's check it out. এখানে দেখো মুখস্থ করার কিছু নেই. If you know how to run this code, so you can check the character ASCII characters corresponding decimal value at a single instance. But suppose at the time of viva or interview, some teacher will ask you or the interviewer will ask you, then you cannot show them how you can do it. Okay, so you have to tell them the answer. Generally, they generally ask the how you can do in terms of coding. Then you have to show this code. Okay. In practical lab, I am giving one or two some programs, C programs, where you have to take the help of this ASCII conversion to complete that program. Okay, that's why I am showing these things. Okay, so is it clear to everyone, right? Up to this, is it clear to everyone? Very good.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now I'm showing you one of the very important concepts in C programming, that is data type casting in C. How we can perform our type casting or data type casting in C. So I have already discussed about the data type. Various type of data types are available in C. Mostly you are focusing on primitive data types. I have shown that I have already discussed about there are various kinds of data type like primitive, derived, enumerated, and void data type. Okay, so here we are mainly focusing on primitive data types because primitive data types are most popular and most widely used. Okay, Now the thing is that what do you understand by typecasting? What do you understand by typecasting? Typecasting means typecasting is a process by the help of which we can convert a data type of one kind into a data type of another kind. Or you can say typecasting is a process by which we can convert a variable of one data type into a variable of another data type. That is called data typecasting or typecasting process. Okay. Now there are various kinds of data types. We already know that. So all data types of the variables are upgraded to the data types of the variable with largest data type. Okay, and it is possible for implicit conversion or implicit typecasting. So there are two kinds of typecasting available in C programming. One is implicit typecasting, another one is explicit typecasting. You have to remember, one is implicit, another one is explicit. Implicit means which is done automatically, which is done automatically by your C compiler. That is called implicit typecasting. And what is explicit? That you have to done forcefully or from the outside. Okay, you have to done external. It is not automatically. You have to done forcefully outside. Let's talk about the implicit typecasting. So as the name suggests, implicit means automatically. The procedure of this typecasting has been given or has been discussed or has been defined inside the C compiler. What is that procedure? Procedure tells that a lower data type variable are upgraded to the higher data type variable. And everyone can write it down. A lower data type variable can be upgraded to a higher data type variable. Okay, so let me write down the data type first according to the order. First data type, char. Second data type, short. Third data type, int. Next data type, float. Then long int. Then long float or double. Sorry, আমি এখানে ভুল করলাম. After int it should be long, and after long it should be float. Okay. Then double. Double means long float are similar. I already discussed. And then long double. These are the most frequently used or common data type that we are using, and these are all parts of the primitive data types, right? So এই যে অর্ডারটাতে আমি data type টা আগে প্রথম দিন শিখিয়েছিলাম তোমাদের, I actually followed this order. I didn't follow this order by my own choice. Okay, this order actually followed as per the implicit typecasting. That means after char, the implicit typecasting, how it will happen? Char, then from char it should be short, then from short it should be int, then from int it should be long, then from long it can be float, then from float it can be double, then from double it can be long double. So any data type which is part of this character can be easily converted automatically into a short part, or any data type that will be part of the integer that can be easily converted into long int. You don't need to convert it explicitly. It is automatically converted. Okay, it can be automatically converted. Let's check out one example. If this link is over after 5 minutes, then you can join the same link for the next session. Let's check out one example, very simple example. Int x equal to 10, okay, and char y equal to a, right? Int x equal to 10 and char y equal to a, right? So two variables I have defined. One is integer variable x whose value is 10, another is character variable y whose value is a. Okay, now I have performed a addition of these two, x plus y, x plus y. Clear? So can anyone tell me what value this x will be stored at the left hand side on new value of x? What will be the new value of x?
107.
Yes, very good. Why? How you have calculated?
Because why
10 plus 97.
97 plus 10.
Very good. So it will take the ASCII value of small a, that is 97, and it is the normal value 10. So 97 plus 10, that means 107. Okay, very good. Now again I am just doing, I am storing this 107 plus 1.0. So this 1.0 is actually a float data type, and this x are generally stored which value? A decimal, sorry, an integer value 107. right? After this step, so look, this 107 is added with 1.0, okay, and stored into a float data type. So x is integer, but it should be added with a, it will be added with a floating value, and it will be stored into a float variable. So obviously you understood that there may be some problem, they may give some error. No, it will never give you the error. Why? Because you actually converted the integer type, or you are actually storing the integer type variable into its corresponding float type. So as per the definition, integer type is the lowest data type and float is the highest one compared to integer one. তাই তো আমি সেটাই বললাম তোমাদের, দেখো কিছুক্ষণ আগেই, that all the data types variables that are upgraded to the lower data type to higher data type. So what is the lower data type in this case? Int. And what is the higher data type in this case? Float. So it can be easily supported because you are converting the lower data type integer into a higher data type float. So you simply print it. So that's why it's written x is implicitly converted to float. X is implicitly converted to float. So we can simply run this code and we will get the output successful. Okay, understood? So there should no error. 107 will be automatically converted into a float type and it will be added with 1.0, and that's why the final value of z will be 108.0000 and so on. Clear? Understood? Anyone has any
Yes,
doubt?
sir.
Anyone has any
Yes,
doubt?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Very
Yes, sir.
clear? Okay. Now the thing is that,
স্যার একটা কোয়েশ্চেন ছিল
হ্যাঁ বলো বলো বলো।
যদি আমরা ফ্লোটটাকে লং এর থেকে মানে আমি আমি যদি
সেটা আমি করছি,
ফ্লোটটাকে লং এর মধ্যেই করতে,
সেটা আমি করছি যে আমি যদি উল্টো নিই, সাপোজ I am taking the in a reverse order, okay, taking in a reverse order. So suppose okay, let's not show this code, make it much more simple. I am taking one float variable, float z equal to 4.25, right? Now int x equal to z. Can I do it? So where what I'm trying to do, I'm
Yes,
trying to
sir.
converting the float data variable into its corresponding integer variable. So float is a
Original type,
higher
yes.
data type, float is a higher data type, and integer is a lower data type. So vice versa is not possible. তাই জন্য আমি arrowটা কিন্তু one directional দিয়েছি, not bidirectional. The arrow is one directional. So in implicit typecasting, always you can move forward, but you cannot reverse back. Okay, so if I will do this one and try to print it in the form of integer, the z value, what output we will get, that we will check. Okay, so it gives a wrong output, a garbage value. Oh, sorry. I should print x, not z. It should give 4.
X, sir, X, you have
I
to
think
print
it should
X.
give 4. Wrong, 4. Okay, it is given 4. Why?
It gives 4, yes, sir.
Because the remainder section, it has been cut it off. Okay, so it's
Yes,
actually the wrong value.
It takes the integer value.
Yes, it's actually a wrong value. It takes only the integer value. Obviously 0.25 is a very important thing in some applications, like in any scientific application, 0.25 plays a very important role. Okay, আমরা হয়তো ধরে নিতে পারি যে no, okay, we will cut it off, but it should not be happen. It is a disadvantage, it's a wrong value. So this thing is not allowed. Now if I want to make these things allowed, okay, then I will have to typecast from higher data type to lower data type explicitly. I have to do explicit typecasting from higher data type to lower data type. How can I do the explicit typecasting? Very simple. If I want to convert a variable from higher data type to lower data type, I will do in this way. Float z. That is called explicit typecasting. Okay. This float I have used for the explicit typecasting. Why? Because z is an integer and I am typecasting it. Sorry. Int. So z is a float and I'm typecasting it into its corresponding integer value. So I have to make it a integer typecasting explicitly. Okay. So in my code, z is a float value. So I have to convert it from float to integer. So I have to make an integer typecasting. Obviously, float is a higher data type, integer is a lower data type. Conversion is not possible. That I have already shown to you. Answer is wrong. So here I I did this explicit typecasting for you. Okay, and run this code. Clear? বুঝতে পারলে? So integer typecasting.
এক্সপ্লিসিট টা বুঝলাম না স্যার।
explicit টা হচ্ছে তোমার সাপোজ ধরো float আছে, so we actually typecasting from float to